Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this edition of DMS 3000 News Live. It's episode 53 on this Tuesday, September 19th, 2023. And I am, of course, your host for this great show and moderator, Jason DeCanio. Well, I hope you enjoyed yesterday's show, because I know I did. And we, it got off to a little bit of a slow start, but we picked it up. And then, of course, at the end, I gave a pretty much responsibility editorial. Being responsible is something that we all need to do, and take initiative and take responsibility for our actions, and then do what we need to do in order to make things work for it. And one of the things that we really need to, like I said yesterday, is take responsibility for our decisions and our actions, because whatever happens affects somebody, some way, somehow, no matter what we try to do. But that's for another day, and we're here for today. So today's show, we're going to be looking at some premieres of some game shows that happened back in 1983. These are 40th anniversary shows that premiered on this date, September 19th, 2023. Now, we know today is a Tuesday, but back when they were premiered, they were probably premiered on a Monday for specific reasons of the way the calendar fell and everything. So the three shows that we're going to be looking at today are the 40th anniversary of the syndicated Nighttime Wheel of Fortune. And I say Nighttime Wheel of Fortune because that is what we're kind of looking at right now, where the Nighttime Wheel of Fortune, or the syndicated show, basically is now celebrating 41 years with the schedule that they launched this week. So we'll be looking at the 40th anniversary of the syndicated Nighttime Wheel of Fortune, and then a show that graced us with its presence some 40 years ago on the same date. Press Your Luck came on the air with Peter Tomarken. And we'll look at the CBS show that lasted 3 years, but debuted and gave us some fantastic gameplay, as well as the whammies, and even a little bit of a guy who was a contestant, and then, later on became a very good announcer, and, has just been an overall game show fanatic. You'll see what I mean when we come to that. And then we'll be looking at the 40th anniversary of The Love Connection with Chuck Woolery. Chuck Woolery was the original host of Wheel of Fortune, as you know, from 75 to 81. But did you not also know that too, when he was doing Scrabble, he was hosting Scrabble and then doing Love Connection at the same time. The man was so busy and active with a lot of things. Even after he left Wheel of Fortune, he knew where he was going and how popular he was. So it didn't matter. But we'll take a look at the 40th anniversary of the Love Connection. Dun, 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 dun. It was actually, I tell you, Love Connection kind of paved the way for what we have today. Give or take. I think of it as the dating game of the 80s, even though the dating game of the 60s and 70s with Jim Lang, was a fantastic show. But I tell you, I think the Love Connection kind of went deeper, went a little more deeper into the minds of a first date back in the 80s. Whoa. Okay. Plus we have headlines, sports, and other important information. We also have What Day Is Today, and of course our editorial at the end of the program. So lots going on. Before that, let's go ahead and get back to our headlines here, because we've got stuff to take care of. So we go to NPR for our headlines and all the good stuff. So let's look at the news right now. Get our ad blocker in place. And here we go. Well, these habits can cut the risk of depression in half, a new study finds. The new evidence shows that people who maintain a range of healthy habits, from good sleep to physical activity to strong social connections, are significantly less likely to experience depression. Pretty interesting, if you think about it. Zelensky is set to visit the U.S. as GOP opposition to Ukraine aid grows. That's right. Congressional leaders are working to pass $24 billion in additional aid to Ukraine, but rising opposition on the right is complicating its passage. And so it should, Restoring the Voting Rights Act is still on this Alabama Democrats' agenda. Despite a divided Congress, Democratic Representative Terry Sewell of Alabama is still pushing to shore up the Voting Rights Act after the U.S. Supreme Court dismantled the key parts of the landmark law. And an unexpected invitation from a stranger changed her life trajectory. In 2013, Allie was having one of the hardest years of her life. Then she got a Facebook message from a generous stranger. Australian wildfire danger causes fire ban in Sydney and closes schools. Authorities have forecast the most destructive wildfire season during the approaching Southern Hemisphere summer in Australia's populous southeast since the fires of 2019 into 2020 that killed 33 people. Fiber is a dietary superhero. Are you eating enough of it? NPR's Maria Godoy is a self-proclaimed fiber fanatic. She shares 8 ways to add fiber to your diet, munch on popcorn, and provides a grocery list of high-fiber foods that you can print out at home. Italy cracks down on migrants as Maloney calls for a naval blockade off North Africa. The measures approved by the cabinet focused on migrants who don't qualify for asylum and are slated to be repatriated to their home countries. The FCC judge rules that Knoxville's only black-owned radio station can keep its license. And since 2022, WJBE has battled with the FCC over its owner, Joe Armstrong, being able to own a radio station following his conviction in 2016 for making a false statement on his tax return. Oh boy, you don't want to do that. The U.S. and Iran exchanged prisoners a year since the death of Mahsa Amini sparked protests. On Monday, 5 Americans who were imprisoned in Iran stepped off a plane in Doha, Qatar. They were freed as part of a prisoner exchange deal between the U.S. and Iran. State-run land-grant HBCUs are owed more than $13 billion, the White House says. The government is supposed to provide equal funding to land-grant, state-run historically black colleges and universities under the Morrill Act of 1890. A Danish artist has been ordered to repay a museum after delivering blank canvases. Denmark's Kunsten Museum loaned artist Jens Hanning about $76,400 to create 2 pieces of modern art. Instead, he submitted 2 blank canvases and titled the work, "Take the Money and Run." Yeah, right? Why not? India expels senior Canadian diplomat in tit-for-tat row over skis activist killing. India expelled a senior Canadian diplomat a day after Canada expelled a top Indian diplomat over allegations that India may have had links to the assassination of a ski activist on Canadian soil. Ooh. And a black bear on a tree in Walt Disney World temporarily shuts down parts of the park. Officials with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission captured an adult female bear and say they will relocate her outside the theme park. 2 pilots were killed in a mid-air collision on the last day of Nevada's air races. The fatal crash occurred on the final day of the National Championship air races in Reno, putting a tragic end to the decades-old racing tradition. Debris has been located in search for the F-35 jet that went missing. Personnel from Joint Base Charleston say the debris field was discovered roughly 2 hours northeast of the base. The jet's pilot ejected safely near Charleston, South Carolina on Sunday. And Generac is recalling around 64,000 generators that pose a fire and burn hazard. At least 3 incidents involving the recalled generators left people with severe burns. Generac is offering a free repair kit to customers. Love, identity, and ambition take center stage in Roaming. Roaming, spanning 5 days as old friends Danny and Zoe reunite on their first break from college, is the first adult graphic novel from Caldecott winning cousins Jillian Tamaki and Mariko Tamaki. And China's foreign minister visits Russia after Kim Jong-un's trip, the latest on Ukraine. Catch up on the key developments in the latest in-depth coverage of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. 9 teens are back in custody after escaping from a Pennsylvania detention center. And for the second time in 2 weeks, Pennsylvania police conducted a major manhunt for escaped inmates. This time, it was a group of teens who fled a detention center after overtaking 2 female guards. Just 2 doctors served this small Alabama town. What's next when they want to retire? Well, like much of rural America, Lafayette, Alabama has no hospital or urgent care clinic. As the town's 2 primary care doctors approach retirement, some experiments are bubbling up to care for people. And finally, the U.S. has a primary problem, says advocates who call for new election systems. There are a lot of discontent with America's political system, including with party-based primary elections. So reform advocates are urging states to move to nonpartisan primaries. We'll be right back with the sports right after this.
As Halloween approaches, you have to prepare yourself for what might happen.
More orange sprinkles.
It's a special time of year, and Dunkin' Donuts is dressing up their donuts for the occasion.
And here's the werewolf.
So come to Dunkin' Donuts and get into the spirit of Halloween.
We'd like some Halloween donuts, please.
Oh, of course.
How does Sam Breakstone know when his sour cream is ready?
Not thick enough!
Now?
Not thick enough!
Now?
Now!
Breakstone's all-natural sour cream is so thick and so rich now because Sam was so demanding then.
Put that down.
Now?
Now! Ah! Try my light choice. It's got 33% less fat than sour cream, but it's 100% delicious.
When you're rushing in a hurry, what's for dinner? Not to worry. When a pizza just won't cut it, more Chinese, you're sick of it. For a warm and hearty supper, grab some chunky from the cupboard. It's not really such a big deal to prepare yourself a square meal. Chunks of beef and big potatoes. And of course, we've got tomatoes, peas and vegetables galore. Chunky soup, need we say more? Campbell's Chunky. Soup that eats like a meal.
Happy Halloween! I'm Dumpy the Pumpkin, the fresh ice cream cake made daily at Carvel. And here's my good friend, Wiki the Witch.
Are you having a Halloween party? Go to your participating Carvel ice cream store and ask to see us, Dumpy the Pumpkin and me, Wiki the Witch. Or if you want to send one of us to a friend,
please phone 800-327-GIFT and call the Cake Honors most major credit cards. Thank you.
If you suffer from an inflamed, itchy rash caused by eczema, psoriasis, or other skin irritations, you can get the relief medication formerly available only by doctor's prescription. It's the medicine in maximum strength cortisone 10. Look, cortisone 10 applied to this itchy rash gets under the itch for soothing relief and help in healing. See? The rash is gone. To relieve itchy rashes and skin irritations, use maximum strength cortisone 10 with the medicine doctors recommend most. Available without prescription.
The Sega Genesis has blast processing. Super Nintendo doesn't. So what's blast processing do? And what if you don't have blast processing?
16-bit arcade graphics.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis does.
16-bit sports action.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis
does.
Genesis
does.
Genesis
does.
Genesis
does.
Genesis does.
Get Joe Montana free, Pat Riley free, Buster Douglas free, Super Monaco GP free, or Collins free. What Nintendo? Buy a 16-bit Genesis system between now and October 31st and... Yeah.
Clean the inside too, mister?
Just the outside.
White Castle. What you crave. Got an extreme crave? Get 20 burgers and 4 orders of fries.
Welcome back to DMS News 3000 and live. This is episode 53, and we are hoping you're enjoying your Tuesday morning. We're back and ready to go for the headlines in the sports. So let's go ahead and pull that up. Actually, I put that in the wrong spot. There we go. Cool. All right, let's take a look at the NFL scores that we do every Tuesday, because now the NFL, of course, goes Thursday through Monday. On Thursday's edition of Thursday Night Football, the Eagles upset the Vikings to put the Vikings at 0-2, and the Eagles got a 2-0 record right now, and they win on Thursday Night Football, 34-24. It was the Falcons over the Packers, 25-24. Falcons go to 2-0. Packers fall to 1-1. The Raiders and the Bills, well, the Bills finally won their first game of the season, beating up on the Raiders, 38-10, sending the Raiders to a 1-1 record. Oh, Christ. Okay, let's go back and I don't know why the football scores are crashing. This is ridiculous. Because the ad blockers are on. That's why. Okay. Let's see. We've got the Ravens over the Bengals, 27-24. Ravens now 2-0. Bengals fall to 0-2. Seahawks 37. Lions 31. Both teams. Okay, we are back. I'm sorry about that. We had a little bit of a crash, as here on the show. So we're not going to use NFL.com because it's a sucky website. I don't care what you say, but we'll go ahead and we'll go back to the scores, but we'll use the Google scores for you, so that way our computer has a little bit of a better chance of not crashing. So we had just finished up on the on the Seahawks and the Lions. Now let's see, there was the Colts over the Texans 31-20. Bears fall to the Buccaneers 27-17. The Chiefs over the Jaguars 17-9. Let's see, we did the Falcons and the Packers. We did the Bills and the Raiders. The Titans over the Chargers 27-24. 49ers upset the Rams 30-23. It was the Giants coming back against the Cardinals 31-28. Jets, well, they get their butts handed to them. They fall to 1-1 as the Cowboys take that game 30-10. It was the Commanders over the Broncos 35-33. Dolphins upset the Patriots 24-17. The Saints over the Panthers 20-17. And last night's Steelers-Browns Monday Night Football game had the Steelers come out on top 26-22. Standings right now for the football have the Dolphins at 2-0 in the AFC East with a 2-game winning streak. The Jets and the Bills are 1-1 apiece. And the Patriots are 0-2 on the bottom. But, like I say, it's early, folks. The Raiders 1-1. Chiefs at 1-1. The Chargers and the Broncos 0-2 in the AFC West. In the North, the Ravens have a 2-0 record right now, and the Steelers and the Browns have a 1-1 record with the Bengals on the bottom at 0-2. Jaguars, Colts, and Titans all tied at 1-1 in the AFC South with the Texans at 0-2. So if they even up the series, Texans can, of course, move up fast. It should be pretty good. These are the standings right now in the National Football League. The Cowboys, Eagles, and Commanders all at 2-0 with the Giants at 1-1. NFC West, 49ers have the division right now, 2-0, with the Rams and the Seahawks at 1-1 and the Arizona Cardinals at 0-2. NFC North, Packers and the Lions have the top spot right now, but and the Vikings and the Bears are 0-2. And in the NFC South, it is the Falcons, Saints, and Buccaneers all have 2-0 records, with the Carolina Panthers at 0-2. So that's a look at NFL scores. Now we go back and look at the baseball scores. Very important. We're going to look at scores and standings as well. And there were some pretty good, interesting games yesterday from Monday Night Baseball for all of you out there. It was the Royals over the Guardians, 6-4, as the Royals playing a little spoiler there. They take that game 6-4. It was the Reds over the Twins, 7-3, and they have to keep pace with the Brewers. The Mets upset the Marlins 2-1. Ooh, in Miami, and wow. And the White Sox over the Nationals 6-1 in a game that really don't mean nothing. But the Braves and the Phillies, well, the Phillies 7-1 over the Braves, helped them a little bit there. The Cardinals upset the Brewers 1-0. Red Sox spoil the Rangers 4-2. The Orioles come back and beat the Astros. They were down 7-5, and they came back and won 8-7, showing once again that the Baby Blues, the Baby Birds, are actually still doing what they do. Continue to win. That's right. Mariners over the Athletics 5-0. There was the Padres over the Rockies 11-9. And the Dodgers, well, they just keep dominating the NL West with a win over the Tigers 8-3. Standings right now have the Orioles 94-56. Still doing fantastic. And the Rays, 2.5 back at 92-59. The Blue Jays, 11 games back at 83-67. Yankees, 76-74, 18 games back. And the Red Sox, 75-76, 19.5 back. On the AL Central, the Twins, they are on top of the AL Central, 79-72, with the Guardians 7 games back at 72-79. Tigers 70-80 at 8.5 back. The White Sox and the Royals, they're eliminated. White Sox 58-93, 21 games back. Not going to make it. Royals 49-102, 30 games back. And the Astros Dominating the AL West right now at 84-67. The Mariners, 82-68, 1.5 back. Texas, 82-68, 1.5 back. Angels out of it, 68-82, 15.5 back. And the Athletics, 46-104, 37.5 back. Ain't going to make it. All right. And the wild card right now has the Orioles and the Rays right now clinching. But like I said, that division is only by 2.5 games. So whatever happens, the Orioles do have the tiebreaker. So that's the important thing. You need to realize this, folks, that the Orioles, they control their own destiny in this case. So let's see what happens. And, I'm hoping to get on the Brian Snow's show this morning and talk baseball with him. I spoke to him yesterday. I'm reaching out again today. If you're watching, please have us on today. We would like to talk and express our opinions, and we have a lot to get off on our chest if that was the case. All right, back to it. Nothing else has clinched yet in the wild card in the AL American League yet, but the Braves, well, they've got the division, 96-54. Phillies, 82-68, 14 games back. I don't think they're going to try anything fancy. Might try for a wild card. Marlins, 78-73, 18.5 back. Mets finally won that 70th game. Yay! 10 games under 500, though, but 26 games back. Still a threat in the wild card. You never know. And the Nationals, 66-85, 30.5 games back. The Brewers and the Cubs right now, and the Reds, well, they're all fighting for that division. The Brewers are at 84-66. The Cubs, 78-72 with 6 games back. The Reds, 79-73, 6 games back. The Pirates at 70-80, 14 games back. Could be a possible elimination. Cardinals, 67-83, 17 games back. Dodgers clinched the NL West division big time, 92-57. The Diamondbacks, 79-72, 14 games back. The Giants, 76-74, 16.5 back. The Padres, 73-78, 20 games back. And the Rockies, well, they're eliminated, 56-94, 36.5 games back. And that is a look at sports on this edition of DMS News Live 3000, episode 53. All right, what day is today? Well, we're going to see that right now. I don't know what day today is. Yesterday was National Cheeseburger Day, as you know. And that was fun. And I did have my burgers last night. So I'm very happy about that. So what holiday is today? What is today? Let's see. We get our information from nationaltoday.com. Let's see if there's anything good here. Oh, look at this. Okay. Well, I did find one, and that was National Butterscotch Pudding Day. Yes, folks. National Butterscotch Pudding Day is celebrated each year on this day, September 19th. I'm going to put the ad blocker in. This is ridiculous. Thank you. And although there are tons of puddings out there, butterscotch pudding remains one of the most loved. And this milk-based dessert is prepared with starch, brown sugar, and butter, and is left to cool and set before consumption. Yep. And butterscotch could also have several other ingredients, including corn syrup, lemon, salt, vanilla, and cream. Now, created as far back as 1817, members of England's royal family ate butterscotch candy as a dessert. Many believe the confectionery was invented by a man from Yorkshire, Doncaster, Samuel Parkinson. Records indicate that a recipe for butterscotch candy was included in a newspaper issue in 1848, and although several theories lay claim to the creation of butterscotch, its origin remains elusive. One such theory claims that the name Scotch was used to denote the cutting or scoring of the candy into pieces before it hardens. Others believe that Scotch is a derivative of a scorched and refers to the heating of sugar at high temperatures. There is also the possibility of the confection being a product of the far north of Scotland, because the name butterscotch cannot be dismissed either. This is another reason for the uncertainty behind the origin of this delicious confectionery. The butterscotch pudding itself is just as much of a mystery as the confectionery that gives it its name. The origins of the custardy dessert continue to divide opinion. The creamy treat could very well have been created in the United States using the flavor created by the British. The first recipe for butterscotch pudding would include milk, butter, eggs, and brown sugar, giving it the delicious taste it's well known for. And today we celebrate the deliciousness that is this tasty dessert. Join food lovers across the nation in celebrating this household name. If you have never tasted it, this is the ideal opportunity to start your love story. Find out for yourself why people love this sweet treat. So in 1848, the butterscotch recipe makes the papers. The Doncaster butterscotch recipe is included in a publication of the Liverpool Mercury newspaper. Now to 1850, new butterscotch recipes are created and more recipes for butterscotch enter circulation. Butterscotch is defined in 1855 as F.K. Robinson's 1855 publication, Glossary of Yorkshire Words, describes the confectionery as a treacle ball with an amalgamation of butter. Wow, that's interesting. Amalgamation of butter. I'm going to have to pronounce that more often. Then go to 1951 and butterscotch becomes a household name. Butterscotch candies are presented to England's Queen Victoria and gain popularity as a result. Well, you probably also know that you could use Werther's Originals for your butterscotch pudding because that's pure butterscotch in its own right. It's really good. So how do we celebrate National Butterscotch Pudding Day? Well, make or eat one. Celebrate Butterscotch Pudding Day by buying one from a local store or making one at home. Share with friends and family and for a more enjoyable experience. And take a class or teach one. Don't know how to make butterscotch pudding? Why not take lessons from someone who does or look up the steps online? If you're a pro at making this dessert, then teach someone who would like to learn. And research and try new recipes. Try searching for a new recipe online or get creative and create one yourself. Let your imagination run wild. Here are 5 facts about butterscotch pudding that will blow your mind. Naming rights. Butterscotch is also used to refer to the flavor of a butter and brown sugar mix, even if the real butterscotch confection isn't included. And Norway holds the record for the largest butterscotch candy ever made. It measured a staggering 5 feet and weighed over 3,500 pounds. And although caramel is similar to butterscotch, they are made with different sugars. White sugar for caramel and brown sugar for butterscotch. Keep that in mind with the difference. Pudding was the main course in England's Royal Navy between the 1700s and the 1900s. And pudding is also a derivative of boudin, which is the French word for black pudding. And why we love National Butterscotch Pudding Day. Well, everyone deserves a treat from time to time. A national holiday that offers an excuse to enjoy a sweet treat is just aces in our book. And you can add lots of fun ingredients to your pudding for a unique taste: salt, lemon, or even corn syrup. It's up to you. And we love that you can get a little naughty and add a splash of rum or bourbon to your dessert. Pudding shots make the tastiest cocktails. There you have it, folks. National Butterscotch Pudding Day today on September 19th, 2023. And that is what is today on DMS 3000 News Live. All right, when we come back, we're going to start off our first of 3 game shows that premiered on September 19th, 1983. We'll be back right after this to look at the syndicated nighttime Wheel of Fortune when we come back on DMS 3000 News Live right after this.
Fire!
It's not easy getting so much rich chocolate into a Three Musketeers bar. Fortunately, it's a lot easier to get all that incredible tasting chocolate out of it.
Come on along, I'll take you to the lullaby of Broadway. Hickory and Ballyhoo.
The lullaby of Broadway.
And in the center of it all
Is the Milford Plaza.
Stay at the Milford Plaza Hotel with cocktail dinner and breakfast for $49.50 per person. Discover why we are the lullaby of Broadway.
The Milford Plaza is the lullaby of all Broadway.
MTA interviews, 30-second mix, take one.
Take the train.
Why have over 1 million people taken the JFK Express?
Because it's faster than taking a taxi. Because it's very fast, clean, and safe.
And that's the only way to fly.
It's safe.
Oh, I work for United Airlines, and it's quicker than the bus.
So we're taking the train to the plane to save money.
To spend in Paris.
Take the train to the plane.
Take the train to the plane.
The JFK Express, only $4, including shuttle bus. Call 858-7272.
Train to the plane.
I'm Murray Linder. On bagels, I'm an expert. People I'll never understand. I tell them a delicious Linder's bagel has more complex carbohydrates than a lot of cereals people call healthy. 20% more. Well, who wouldn't take a toasty, chewy Linder's bagel over what's in a cereal bowl? But some people still think bowl healthy. Look, if you still think good stuff has to come in a bowl, here you go. Linder's Bagels. Who knew they were this good?
New family members mean new responsibilities and new needs for life and health insurance protection. Why not drop in on your MetLife representative to help you figure out what's right for you and your family? Get Met. It pays.
Benny, the chicken. Throw him the chicken! The chicken, Benny! Please, Benny! The chicken! Throw him the chicken!
But it's Roy Rogers' chicken.
It's chicken month at Roy's. And now get a 2-piece dinner, medium fries, a 15-ounce drink, just $2.99.
I hate machines! Sorry, Rosie.
Why don't we go to the new Sprint store at Radio Shack, George? They have Sprint's easy-to-use products.
And the know-how of Radio Shack.
They even showed Astro how to use his mobile phone.
They could even help you, Mr. J.
Astro has a mobile phone? Well, oh, Rhonda.
The new Sprint store at Radio Shack. You've got questions, we've got answers.
Hello, I'm Joe DeCandia, the owner of Lenny's Columbine Restaurant. I would like to welcome you to Lenny's. We serve you the finest Italian seafood like calamari, baked clams, lobster tail served with shrimps, mussels, and linguine. Our delicious pasta dishes are a mouth-watering treat, and our Italian specialty are unforgettable. Visit one of Lenny's nearest you and enjoy a glass of wine in the house.
Welcome back to DMS 3000 News Live. It's episode 53. And of course, I'm Jason Icanio. It is September 19th, 2023. We hope that you are having a fantastic Tuesday morning. We're ready to start our first of many game shows that premiered on this date, September 19th, 2023. We'll look at the 40th anniversary of the syndicated at nighttime Wheel of Fortune. So let's go ahead. And I was trying to find an article about it. Let me see. Let's see. Nighttime. There's got to be some kind of an article on there. Yeah, let's see if okay. Do I have to put the ad blocker in on this? Yes, I do. Unfortunately. Okay. Okay. So here are some of the differences. September of 1983, the nighttime Wheel of Fortune officially debuts, and it plays identically to the NBC daytime version with Pat and Vanna White hosting, Jack Clark as the announcer, and only 6 major differences at this point. There are no returning champions. The prize budget is noticeably higher. Round 2 adds a prize wedge to the orange $150 near lose a turn. The top value in round 3 is increased to $5,000, which is on a shiny silver wedge covering the $2,000 wedge. Following the Merv Griffin Productions logo, Jack adds distributed by King World Productions, Inc. The King World logo, using the Eurostyle heavy font, is shown over Pat, Vanna, and the day's winner. And each week is compiled from 5 taping sessions, and episodes typically air out of sequence due to the bicycling method of syndication still in use at this point. For at least the early tapings, the syndicated version airs in 6 segments with 5 commercial breaks. On September 19th, there is no close-up of the $5,000 wedge when Pat announces it as the top dollar value for round 3. As there is a commercial break during round 3, the final spin chimes do not sound when Pat goes to spin the wheel coming out of commercial. Then on September 20th, there is no close-up of the prize wedge when it is mentioned at the start of round 2. When Pam hits bankrupt in round 2, Pat does not ask her to hand over the prize wedge, nor does he retrieve it himself. He also comments on her still having the prize when the round returns from commercial. It is not known whether prizes were initially invulnerable to bankrupt or if this was a one-time error. This does not affect the outcome, and Pam does not solve the puzzle. There are 2 consolation prize plugs, both of which are pre-recorded ads with changing keys continuing to play over them, shown immediately before the car plug, which itself is done before the start of round 3. As no other known episodes include this, it is unknown whether this was a regular occurrence. The final spin chimes sound immediately after Barry spins the wheel, and he is allowed to complete his turn, after which Pat does the final spin. Changing keys does not begin to play until several seconds after Jack starts reading the fee plugs, and the ticket plug is done between the fee plugs and the sponsor list. On at least this episode, it does not. It is done over a shot of the audience, and itself an extremely rare instance of an audience shot during the show's years in Burbank. The address on this episode is Tickets, Wheel of Fortune, 3000 West Alameda Avenue, Burbank, California, 91523 on 4 lines. On at least this episode, the eligibility disclaimer and Pat and Vanna's wardrobe plugs are in yellow. The Merv Griffin Productions graphic omits the Wheel of Fortune, is produced by portion at the top. Now, go to September 23rd. Lisa, Bob, and Nancy, also taped on July 6th. No vowels are bought in rounds 1 or 3. The contestants are shown turning their backs during the commercial outro in round 2. 6 consecutive turns are lost in round 2. And Pat's final spin lands on bankrupt, but against precedent at the time, the slide whistle does not sound. And there was a brief pause between Bob solving the round 3 puzzle, birth certificate, and Pat ruling it correct, possibly due to Bob adding an A before the answer. Wow. On still another early taping with Kathy, Janet, and Barry, Janet had previously played on the October 8th, 1980 episode. The wheel prize is $500 in cash, displayed as 5 $100 bills in a bird's nest or a nest egg. And the wedge has a large dollar sign in the same font as other prize wedges. This is not the least expensive prize ever offered, as a $425 camera is also known to have been offered early in the show's run. After the above plug, the players are shown turning around to face the puzzle board. And one of the fee plugs is a pre-recorded ad, although changing keys continues to play over it. This practice appears in several other episodes this season. And on another early taping with Sin, Susan, and Steve, The board malfunctions during round 2, as on at least 2 letter calls, the trilons don't light up in sync with the dings. The footage for the bonus round, a boat, is likely edited in, as Vanna is shown modeling it from behind the puzzle board. The bonus puzzle, Wish You Were Here, uses all 4 lines of the puzzle board, one of the few known instances of a puzzle or a bonus puzzle doing so. And on yet another early taping, Laura, Lisa, and Glenn, the contestants are shown turning their backs during the commercial outro in round 2. And in the final segment, Pat explains how players choose bonus prizes. Now, folks, you know how Wheel of Fortune is played, so I'm not even going to explain the rules of the game and all of that stuff. What I'm telling you is basically from the Wheel of Fortune timeline of the syndicated version. Pretty interesting. Something you probably didn't even know existed in these articles here. In fact, it was very hard to actually combine a short little piece of a premiere article for the 1983 nighttime edition of Wheel of Fortune that's been in our homes for almost 41 years. To continue. So, shortly into tapings for the season, the top value in round 1 is increased to $1,000, which is placed over the $100 near the $750, which was previously the top value. Now, on an episode after the $1,000 top value is introduced, but before the trees change, Barbara, Harleen, and Kevin. And while Pat is still in the middle of the rules spiel, the shot cuts to the puzzle board. The puzzle chimes then sound, to which Pat jokes that there's someone at the door who has a person. The round 1 category for them. The prize wedge's lettering, silver, is much smaller than usual. The smaller lettering continues to appear at least occasionally until early next season. The round 3 puzzle, Dyed in the Wool, has 3 hyphens, a likely record for the most punctuation ever revealed on the Trilon boards until 1994. And Mark Corwin, the associate director, fills in as director. On another episode from the above time frame, where the contestants were Richard, Claire, and Melissa, during round 1, the buzzer sounds on a correct letter. Sound person is off a key all the time. The prize wedge is a video using the smaller lettering, and the players are shown turning their backs during the commercial outro in round 2. Claire puts $25 on account after round 2, which she claims in round 3. Pretty interesting, right? A lot of people don't do that. Gift certificates do not include sales tax. Yep. On yet another episode from this point, Lou, Cindy, and Karen are playing. The round 3 puzzle, the People's Republic of China, is on the 2nd through 4th rows, a practice normally done only if the first word is too long for the top row. Cindy lands on $5,000 3 times in a row in round 3. She then solves for $25,100, buying a total of 12 prizes, including 2 cars. The resulting prize copy runs for 3 minutes and 12 seconds. So there you have it, folks. If you rack up that amount of money on the prize wheel, you are going to go shopping for some fantastic stuff. Now we go to October 1983. Well, at some point in the early fall, the onset trees change from green to brown. And on an episode around this point, Linda, Phil, and Carol are playing. Against normal practice, the buzzer sounds on a repeated A in round 1. Pat's final spin lands on Bankrupt. Round 1 and the bonus round are an event, and the camera is positioned at an angle and too far to the right during the bonus round. Wow. Does that kind of give you a little sense of some craziness going on? Well, this is the Wheel of Fortune History Wiki page. Yes, it's an interesting page from wheeloffortunehistory.fandom.com. You basically can read off what I'm reading here for you and find out some very interesting facts that you didn't know of before. We're going to take a break and then come back and look at another great show that premiered on September 19th in 1983, and that is the 40th anniversary of Press Your Luck with Peter Tomarken. We'll be right back right after this.
Here comes the one, the delicious one. Heinz is the big red one. There's only one ketchup with this flavor pouring on. So thick, so rich, so second to none.
Only one ketchup stands for this kind of thickness with this kind of taste. Heinz.
Heinz is the big red one.
Ketchup lovers, now try Heinz in the 64-ounce plastic bottle.
Okay, Jonathan, we're sending you back in time.
Before television, radio, even before soft drinks. Careful. Anything you do could change history.
Mum's the word.
Activate time travel mode to the year 1885.
He's there.
Hey, where's my Pepsi?
Oh, no. He took it.
Relax, Smith. What could 12 ounces of Pepsi possibly change?
Yeah, what could happen?
Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
Do you wanna dance? Hold my hand.
Now there's a car that just asks to be driven.
You're my lover man. Oh, baby.
Mercury is bringing a sophisticated new shape to the American road. Introducing Sable. Mercury, the shape you want to be in.
Victoria.
But they finally found a substitute for the sweet roll.
Nutri-Grain's new almond raisins.
What is it, nuts and twigs?
Try almond raisins and these great new flakes made with brown rice.
But there's no sugar added. Irv, you're gonna love the taste, even though it's healthy. Hey, don't you have a story to write? How's this? Man eats healthy food and lives.
The amazing taste of Nutri-Grain's new almond raisin. It's news.
It's fun getting to the bottom of one. It's fun getting to the bottom of one. White Mountain Cooler. Keeping it light. Cooler. Crisp and refreshing. It's got the taste that's always right. It's fun getting to the bottom of one.
Original and new orange. It's time. Time for a credit card that gives you a better deal.
The Discover Card.
With the new Discover Card, you don't have to pay an annual fee. In fact, we pay you with money back on everything you buy. Money you can apply against your balance.
Always to find that right tomorrow. The Discover Card puts money in a whole new life.
From a member of Sears Financial Network. Look for more information in the mail or in national magazines.
Welcome back to DMS 3000 News Live. It's episode 53, and I am, of course, Jason DeCanio. Hoping you are having a fantastic Tuesday morning. We are looking at some 40th anniversaries of some specific game shows that premiered on September 19th of 1983. And our next game that we're looking at is a fantastic, fast-paced game show that everybody loves to play. And high stakes are available to the contestant, but they'll have to avoid the whammies as they play the most exciting game in their lives. Yes, Press Your Luck is an American television game show created by Bill Carruthers and Jan McCormack. The show features contestants answering trivia questions to earn spins on a randomly generated game board with 18 slides. Spaces on the board correspond to cash, extra spins, prizes, and the show's mascot, a cartoon creature known as the Whammy. Landing on the Whammy eliminates any cash and prizes accumulated while also displaying a short comedic animation. Its format is a revival of an earlier Carruthers production, Second Chance, which was hosted by Jim Peck and aired on ABC in 1977. The original version of Press Your Luck aired on CBS between 1983 and 1986. This version featured Peter Tomarken as host, Rod Roddy as announcer, and Carruthers as both director and the voice of the Whammy. Following this version's cancellation, it aired frequently in reruns, first on USA Network and then on Game Show Network. Whammy, the all-new Pressure Luck, is a revival of this series, aired from 2002 to 2003, also on the Game Show Network with Todd Newton as host and Gary Kroger as announcer. Various incarnations of the show have also aired in other countries as well. A weekly primetime version, reverting to the name Pressure Luck, began airing on ABC in 2019 with Elizabeth Banks as host and Neil Ross as announcer. The ABC version has aired for 4 seasons, with the 5th slated to air in late 2023. Now, 3 contestants compete on each episode. Gameplay consists of 4 rounds, 2 question rounds, and 2 big board rounds. Yep. In the question round, contestants earn spins by correctly answering a series of multiple choice trivia questions asked by the host. Contestant who rings in with the right answer before the multiple choice options are given earns 3 spins. Giving a correct answer after these options awards 1 spin, and giving an incorrect answer does not award or penalize. After the question round is completed, the big board round begins with the contestants using all accumulated spins on the show's game board. 18 spaces arranged in a 6x5 rectangle. Each space flashes randomly among cash amounts, sometimes with an extra spin, prizes, spaces which offer a change in direction or alteration to score, and the show's mascot, a red cartoon creature known as the Whammy. The board is controlled by a randomly flashing light around the outside of each space, and contestants stop the board by hitting red buttons on their podiums, landing on a space with a cash amount or prize awards that amount immediately. Should the board land on a Whammy space, the contestant loses all the accumulated winnings, and a short animation involving the Whammy is displayed to the viewing audience, which we all know, which we all love. Landing on a Whammy 4 times eliminates the player from the game, known as whammying out. Directional spaces include across the board, which chooses the space directly opposite, pick a corner, which allows the contestant the choice of any corner space, and big bucks, which redirects to the highest cash value on the board. Other spaces include add a 1, which automatically places a 1 as the outermost digit of the contestant's score, and an additional space, which offers the option to take a cash amount or remove a Whammy if the contestant has previously landed on any. Control of the board begins with whichever contestant has earned the fewest spins in the question round or is seated closer to the host in the event of a tie. At any point after stopping the board, a contestant may choose to spin again, known as pressing one's luck, or passing any remaining spins to whichever opponent has a higher score, or the opponent of that player's choice in the event of a tie. Spins earned by passing have to be played and cannot be passed a second time unless the player also lands on a Whammy. Play during the big board round ends when all accumulated spins have been exhausted. The second half of the game also consists of a question round and a second big board round. The latter is started by whichever contestant has the lowest score, and the values on the board are higher than in the first round. On the 1983 version of the program, after all spins had been exhausted in the second big board round, the player with the highest score was declared the champion and given the right to continue playing on the next program. Contestants could stay until they had won $25,000, later increased to $50,000, or competed for 5 episodes, whichever came first. All players, winning or losing, received whatever cash and prizes were accumulated. By comparison, the 2019 version awards winnings solely to the top winner, who then proceeds to a bonus round. If 2 players have been eliminated and the remaining player still has spins, that player may choose to play against the house until the player has used all remaining spins, has hit a 4th Whammy, or has decided to stop voluntarily. So, Pressure Luck, as you know, is the revival of an earlier game show format created by Bill Carruthers known as Second Chance. This show was hosted by Jim Peck and aired on ABC in 1977. Like Pressure Luck, it also featured contestants answering trivia questions to assume control of a randomly generated board with cash and prizes. This game board also featured spaces labeled with a devil-like creature called the Whammy, who would also take away all cash and prizes if the contestant landed on one. Carruthers and Jan McCormick began developing Pressure Luck in 1983, and Peter Tomarken prior to working in television, was an editor for Women's Wear Daily magazine. His first major television role came earlier in 1983 on the NBC game show Hitman, and he was chosen to host Pressure Luck after the former was canceled. Pressure Luck began both tapings and airings in September of 1983. The show premiered on September 19th, 1983 on CBS at 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central Mountain and Pacific, replacing Child's Play. Serving as announcer on the show was Roddy, with whom Tamarkin had previously worked on Hitman, and who would later become known for announcing on The Price is Right. John Harlan and Charlie O'Donnell filled in on a few episodes when Roddy was unavailable, and in addition to creating the show, Carruthers served as both director and the voice of the Whammy. The animations featuring this character were created by animator Savage Steve Holland, and Carruthers personally selected Holland to design the character and immediately liked Holland's first concept, which he sketched out on a napkin. Holland animated the character via computer software, thus making Pressure Luck one of the first game shows to use computer-designed graphics. Author David Babber noted that the Whammy animations were popular with the viewers, and some of the animations featured the Whammy taunting the contestant and becoming injured or harmed in a manner which Babber compared to a Wile E. Coyote cartoon. Others featured satires of then-contemporary pop culture figures such as Boy George or Tina Turner. Ed Flesch designed the show's set, and Lee Ringuetti composed the show's music. Then on January 6th of 1986, CBS relocated Pressure Luck in order to make room for a Bob Eubanks-hosted revival of Card Sharks. Pressure Luck replaced Body Language in the network's 4 p.m. afternoon time slot. Tamarkin stated that by the end of 1985, the contract for The Price is Right was up for renewal. But CBS was unable to pay Mark Goodson Productions the kind of money they wanted to continue that show on their network. So Goodson came up with the solution of taking over the 10:30 a.m. time slot. The last episode of the CBS version aired on September 26, 1986. The final tapings took place in August of that same year when its cancellation was first announced. Following the cancellation, Tamarkin went on to host a number of other game shows, including the syndicated show Wipeout in 88 to 89, as well as a number of infomercials. He and his wife both died in 2006 when a private plane he was piloting crashed into Santa Monica Bay. You all know about Michael Larson. And in early 1987, 130 episodes of the show were packaged by Republic Pictures for off-network syndication to a handful of local stations. These episodes originally aired on CBS from February 25th to August 23rd, 1985, and were also the first to be shown on USA Network from September 14th of 87 to December 30th, 88. Pressure Luck remained on its schedule until October 13th, 1995, when USA dropped its game show block altogether. When USA dropped its game show block. Game Show Network aired the show from September 2001 to March of 2009, airing episodes from February of 84 to November of 85. Game Show Network resumed airing the show in 2012, airing episodes from September 1983 premiere to February 1984. And from 2014 to 2016, the 1984 to February 85, until the show was removed from Game Show Network's schedule again in May of 2017. Also, they aired episodes 561 to 696, which originally ran from November 85 to May of 1986. After this, GSN aired those episodes from 84 to February of 85. From December of 2017 to February 2018, Game Show Network aired episodes from 1984 as part of a Saturday night game show block. Then on July 2nd, 2018, reruns of Pressure Luck started airing on Game TV in Canada. Wow. Then there's international versions. There's the revival of course, Whammy, the all-new Pressure Luck. But what we were focusing on today was the original play of 1983. And let's see, we had some merchandise and some other goodies there as well. Well, there you have it, folks. Another great look at another great show. The 40th anniversary of Press Your Luck with Peter Tomarken. We'll take a break, and when we come back, it's the Love Connection with Chuck Woolery when we return right after this.
As Halloween approaches, you have to prepare yourself for what might happen.
More orange sprinkles.
It's a special time of year, and Dunkin' Donuts is dressing up their donuts for the occasion. And here's the werewolf. So come to Dunkin' Donuts and get into the spirit of Halloween.
We'd like some Halloween donuts, please.
Oh, of course.
How does Sam Breakstone know when his sour cream is ready?
Not thick enough!
Now?
Not thick enough!
Now?
Now!
Breakstone's all-natural sour cream is so thick and so rich now because Sam was so demanding then.
Put that down.
Now?
Now! Ah! Try my light choice. It's got 33% less fat than sour cream, but it's 100% delicious.
When you're rushing in a hurry, what's for dinner? Not to worry. When a pizza just won't cut it, more Chinese, you're sick of it. For a warm and hearty supper, grab some chunky from the cupboard. It's not really such a big deal to prepare yourself a square meal. Chunks of beef and big potatoes. And of course, we've got tomatoes, peas and vegetables galore. Chunky soup, need we say more? Campbell's Chunky. Soup that eats like a meal.
Happy Halloween! I'm Dumpy the Pumpkin, the fresh ice cream cake made daily at Carvel. And here's my good friend, Wiki the Witch.
Are you having a Halloween party? Go to your participating Carvel ice cream store and ask to see us, Dumpy the Pumpkin and me, Wiki the Witch. Or if you want to send one of us to a friend,
please phone 800-327-GIFT and call the Cake Honors most major credit cards. Thank you.
If you suffer from an inflamed, itchy rash caused by eczema, psoriasis, or other skin irritations, you can get the relief medication formerly available only by doctor's prescription. It's the medicine in maximum strength cortisone 10. Look, cortisone 10 applied to this itchy rash gets under the itch for soothing relief and help in healing. See? The rash is gone. To relieve itchy rashes and skin irritations, use maximum strength cortisone 10 with the medicine doctors recommend most. Available without prescription.
The Sega Genesis has blast processing. Super Nintendo doesn't. So what's blast processing do? And what if you don't have blast processing?
Look out!
16-bit arcade graphics.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis does.
16-bit sports action.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis
does.
Genesis
does.
Genesis
does.
Genesis
does.
Genesis does.
Get Joe Montana free, Pat Riley free, Buster Douglas free, Super Monaco GP free, or Collins free. What Nintendo? Buy a 16-bit Genesis system between now and October 31st and... Yeah.
Clean the inside too, mister?
Just the outside.
White Castle. What you crave. Got an extreme crave? Get 20 burgers and 4 orders of fries.
Welcome back to DMS 3000 News Live. It's episode 53, and our time right now is 9:11 in the morning from the WJDC studios via the David 3000 network. And before we get on to our final show of today's topics, let me tell you what's going on. Next week, I will not be here because I have some things I have to take care of with my car. And Monday and Tuesday, I don't know if anybody's going to fill in for me. We're still working on that. In fact, we're still looking for a permanent host to fill in for the days when I'm not here, which would be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So if you are the kind of person that likes to do these kind of things that I'm doing, especially with the format, if you looked at some of our back programs and you see that how we do this format every day, and you're interested and can keep up with it and be a researcher and research these these articles and stuff and bring together a little bit of a 15-minute segment of each one of these topics, then I think you can host it. And I know there's a lot of people out there that maybe never ever hosted a program like this before, but you never know. Step out of your comfort zone, but you don't know unless you try, right? So it's not an easy job to get. The hardest part is getting up in the morning, setting your alarm at 7 o'clock every morning to get up to do the 8 o'clock show. If you live on the West Coast, like my friend Brandon Martin does, he does this show live at 5 o'clock in the morning when he was getting up to do the very first couple of weeks for us before he had to go and get back to college. And we wish, of course, him the best of luck. We support his every move that he makes as far as his work schedule and his school schedule. And we hope he has some time to relax and enjoy some things as well, too. I know he's still doing Rant and Rave with his buddies and has got time to do Sunday Night Football. Maybe. I'm not sure. But I did speak to him just a couple of days ago to ask him how things were. And he gave me an okay. He said everything is fine except just the scheduling is just what's killing him right now. But it's all for the best because it'll work out in the long run. We wish him the best of luck as always. Brandon, we miss you. So like I say, if you are interested in taking over as temporary permanent host, which would be a Wednesday, it'd be a 3-day-a-week thing. You can pick your schedule, make your schedule up with the way you want to, because David St. Dennis can also host 1 or 2 days a week. We've had Brandon Bogart in here. He's done a fantastic job. He did 1 day, and he was a little nervous, but he did the reins, and he looked really good. I know there's some other candidates out there that I think might be able to do the show. It's just a matter of, do you want to step out of your comfort zone? But you don't know unless you try, like I said before. So with that in mind, if you're interested, drop us a line at the David 3000 Network, either to David St. Dennis or myself, and we'll get you ready to go and show you what the ropes are about it, give you an interview, and send you on your way if you're ready to go and host this fantastic program that's been on here 5 days a week in the mornings. But sometimes, of course, I host 2 days myself. All right, so I won't be here next Monday and Tuesday, but I definitely will be here. Probably I'll be in the studio, but I'll be doing other things. But as far as with DMS 3000 News Live, I have to do door dashing on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Saturday and Sunday. Take the car in at 6:40 in the morning on Thursday, leave it, maybe pick it up hopefully Friday afternoon. It's possible. We'll see what happens. But that's all next week. So I'll miss you guys, but you'll see me on other things as well. And I'll talk to you about that in the editorial. Okay? Now, let's go and look at the 40th anniversary of The Love Connection with Chuck Woolery. This is a great show because this one is a television dating game show in which singles attempt to connect with a compatible partner. Originally hosted by Chuck Woolery, the show debuted on syndication on September 19th, 1983, and ended on July 1st, 1994, after 2,120 shows. Reruns continued to air until September 8th of 1995, and the series was relaunched for one season in 1998 under the same title with Pat Bullard as host. And then in 2017, the series returned on Fox with Andy Cohen hosting. This second revival ran for 2 seasons. Love Connection was produced by Eric Lieber Productions in association with and distributed by Telepictures, 1983 to 86, Lorimar Telepictures from 86 to 89, Lorimar Television in 89 to 90, and Warner Brothers Television from 89 to 1994. Now, Love Connection's main premise was to arrange dates for couples. A guest appeared on the show after going on a date with one of 3 contestants, having chosen on the basis of the contestants' videotaped profiles. After the date, the televised appearance was scheduled. Love Connection tapings took place before a live studio audience. Woolery introduced the guest and show excerpts from the three candidates' videos. The studio audience then secretly voted on which candidate they preferred for the guest. In the 98 to 99 version, home viewers voted online and were included in the tally. The guest then revealed whom he or she had actually dated, and the date joined the conversation from backstage via closed-circuit television camera. Woolery led the guest and date to discuss their first time together, and if they both agreed that the date had been successful, the couple would be reunited on stage. Otherwise, the date's participation in the show ended. Woolery then revealed the vote result. If the guest had had a successful date with the vote winner, Woolery congratulated the couple for making a love connection, and they would usually, but not always, accept the offered prize of a second date at the show's expense. After a successful date, the guest was always offered another date with that person. However, if the vote winner was one of the other contestants, the guest could choose a date with the vote winner regardless of the success of the first date. In addition, if the guest had already unsuccessfully dated the audience pick, the guest could choose to go on a date with either of the other contestants. If a second date took place, the couple would be invited back for a second interview at a later taping. 2 or 3 segments usually aired per show. In a variation that aired on Fridays, a bachelor or spinster who had not yet chosen a date made an appearance and allowed the studio audience to make the choice for him or her based on video excerpts. The couple would report back in the usual fashion several weeks later, and if the couple hit it off, they were entitled to a second date at the show's expense. If not, the contestant could choose between the 2 losing candidates for a second date. Well, in the 2017 revival, the guest appeared on the show after having gone on a date with each of the 3 contestants, and all 3 were interviewed from backstage after the video intros and audience vote. This version added a segment where guests and contestants rate their first impressions of each other's looks on a scale of 1 to 10. However, some contestants have acknowledged basing this rating in part on factors other than physical looks, such as punctuality or fashion sense. After the interviews, the guest received an overnight date with a contestant of his or her choice, along with a chance to receive a $10,000 cash prize. In Season 1, the guest automatically received the prize if the audience vote matched his or her choice. Otherwise, the guest was given the option to instead spend the overnight date with the vote winner and thereby receive the monetary prize. In Season 2, the option to switch was dropped. The guest spent the overnight date with the contestant he or she chose, and the $10,000 prize was awarded if the audience vote matched that choice. The great majority of contestants in the original series were in their 20s and had never been married. However, older, never married, widowed, and divorced, some multiple times, the contestants were occasionally selected as well. The relationship status of the contestants was noted on screen in their profile summary in both the syndicated iterations of the show, but it is not referenced in the 2017 revival unless it arises in conversation between the guest, dates, and the host. In the original series, men were paired only with women and vice versa. The 2017 revival has included same-sex pairings. The show paid the expenses incurred on the date, plus $75 for incidentals. The incidental amount was increased to $100 for the 98-99 revival. In 2017, contestants were given $500 for each date. The Legacy. This show was one of the biggest game show hits of the 80s and early 90s and helped revive Chuck Woolery's hosting career. At 11 seasons and 2,120 episodes, it was one of the longest-lasting game shows in syndication, and for many years it was third behind Merv Griffin's Jep and Wheel. Formerly hosted by Woolery, for longest-lasting game show in syndication, but since has been surpassed by Family Feud and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Coincidentally, the show premiered on the same date, September 19th, that Woolery's former show, Wheel of Fortune, debuted its syndicated edition in 1983. And there is a scene in the 1990 movie Misery where Annie Wilkes is watching the show while eating Cheetos. As of 1993, among the couples who met on the show, there were a total of 29 marriages, 8 engagements, and 15 children, according to Woolery. And a year later, in a daily variety trade ad promoting the end of the original show's run after 11 seasons, it was stated that there were 35,478 taped interviews, 2,120 episodes, 31 marriages, and 20 children. Woolery created his catchphrase, "We'll be back in 2 and 2" on Love Connection, often accompanied by a 2-fingered hand gesture. The line referred to the fact that the programmer would return in 2 minutes and 2 seconds, the total length of a standard commercial break at that time, including the fade-out and fade-ins bookending each break. Woolery would later use this phrase on other shows he hosted as well. The Chuck Woolery episodes were rerun on the USA Network from October 16, 1995 to June 6, 1997, and on the Game Show Network from January 6, 2003 to July 18th of 2008. Beginning on November 9th, 2009, the Woolery episodes returned to Game Show Network's weekday lineup, but have since been removed. The Pat Bullard version has not been aired since its cancellation, and Game TV will start airing the Chuck Woolery season on March 6th, 2020. Only a few episodes have aired on there since. There were some revivals. As you know, they were pretty good. And like I said, the show itself had a very fantastic format, a lot of interesting stories about mishaps and dates. And, well, you know, if you watched an entire episode of Love Connection, you got what the National Enquirer called the untold story. That's for sure. And indeed it was a very good show for 11 seasons. And if you watched all 11 seasons, you got to know everything about the juicy details of that intimate first date. And, well, like the television says, if you're on the TV, you pretty much are an open book, an open wound, and anything else that somebody decides to do on a crazy night or a crazy day. The Love Connection will always stay in our hearts, and the original Love Connection from 83 to 94, in all of its glory, 40 years later, to this day, you can't get any better than that. When we come back, we'll look at the editorial and wrap up this edition of DMS 3000 News Live right after this. Fire!
It's not easy getting so much rich chocolate into a Three Musketeers bar. Fortunately, it's a lot easier to get all that incredible tasting chocolate out of it.
Come on along, I'll take you to the lullaby of Broadway. The Hickory and Ballyhoo.
The lullaby of Broadway.
And in the center of it all
is the Milford Plaza.
Stay at the Milford Plaza Hotel with cocktail, dinner, and breakfast for $49.50 per person. Discover why we are the lullaby of Broadway.
The Milford Plaza is the lullaby of all Broadway.
MTA interviews, 30 comics, take one.
Take the train.
Why have over 1 million people taken the JFK Express?
Because it's faster than taking a taxi.
Because it's very fast, clean, and safe.
And that's the only way to fly.
It's safe.
Oh, I work for United Airlines, and it's quicker than the bus.
So we're taking the train to the plane to save money.
To spend in Paris.
Take the train to the plane.
You take the train to the plane.
The JFK Express, only $4, including shuttle bus. Call 858-7272.
Train to the plane.
I'm Murray Linder. On bagels, I'm an expert. People I'll never understand. I tell them a delicious Linder's bagel has more complex carbohydrates than a lot of cereals people call healthy. 20% more. Well, who wouldn't take a toasty, chewy Linder's bagel over what's in a cereal bowl? But some people still think bowl healthy. Look, if you still think good stuff has to come in a bowl, here you go. Lender's Bagels. Who knew they were this good?
New family members mean new responsibilities and new needs for life and health insurance protection. Why not drop in on your MetLife representative to help you figure out what's right for you and your family? Get Met. It pays.
Benny, the chicken. Throw him the chicken! The chicken, Benny! Please, Benny! The chicken! Throw him the chicken!
But it's Roy Rogers' chicken.
It's chicken month at Roy's. And now get a 2-piece dinner, medium fries, a 15-ounce drink, just $2.99.
I hate machines! Sorry, Rosie.
Why don't we go to the new Sprint store at Radio Shack, George? They have Sprint's easy-to-use products.
And the know-how of Radio Shack.
They even showed Astro how to use his mobile phone.
They could even help you, Mr. J.
Astro has a mobile phone? Hello, Rhonda.
The new Sprint store at Radio Shack. You've got questions, we've got answers.
Hello, I'm Joe DeCandia, the owner of Lenny's Columbine Restaurant. I would like to welcome you to Lenny's. We serve you the finest Italian seafood like calamari, baked clams, lobster tail served with shrimps, mussels, and linguine. Our delicious pasta dishes are a mouth-watering treat, and Italian specialty are unforgettable. Visit one of Lenny's nearest you and enjoy a glass of wine in the house.
Our editorial for today is one where I didn't have anything really prepared. And, yesterday I talked about responsibility and taking it and all those things. And I kind of, me, I get a little bit of antsy and that. And that's just because of the fact that I'm just upset at the way things are going with the world. I think everybody has a right to express themselves. Like we said, an editorial is namely an opinion. It's not based on anybody's things, but you do have to have facts onto it. Coming up with an editorial every day or trying to figure out what to kind of end your program on a high note. Of course, you want to, touch base on some of the tough stuff of things. And we all try to figure out something a little bit differently every day. That's something that you kind of look at and you say to yourself, what am I going to talk about towards the end of the program? Well, Halloween is coming up, folks. And if you didn't already know that the season's already here. Most theme parks like Disney and Universal have already started their Halloween parties and their themed nights, Halloween Horror Nights at Universal, and Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party goes on until November 1st. And then, of course, Halloween Horror Nights goes on until November 4th. So if you were looking to get scared and already jump into the Halloween season, well, there it is right there. You can pay a ticket, get scared, and get yourself hyped up. I'm not one for it, Also, too, Walgreens, CVS, and most of your supermarkets have already put up their Halloween decorations, candy, costumes, and all the things related to Halloween are ready to be sold months before the actual holiday. And as an ex-employee of Walgreens, and I know this, Danny Lewis also knows this too because he works for the company as well, but in the pharmacy. But he can tell you that they're already set and on their way to getting ready for Christmas as soon as Halloween is over. Yeah, folks, so here's something you probably didn't know is that Walgreens managers or any retail managers have to order their stuff 6 months in advance. So right now, at this very moment, most managers are ordering for Easter right now. So they've already got their Christmas on the way. Valentine's is being set to order pretty soon for next season. And Easter, well, they order early and they get their stuff in probably a couple of months before the actual holiday. You wouldn't have known that. And if you did know that, you probably had it explained to you by somebody, either by an employee of the company who was generous enough to take the time out to do that. And I even did that myself. 15 years of working at Walgreens. Boy, the stories I could tell you, you would not believe. But as a cashier, it was a good job. Overall, it was very, very demanding. It was very, very stressful. By the end of the time that I had with that company, I had to go see a shrink. Really. Because I really thought it was me, that was failing at the job. I really thought I had to go and look at it. But I look at retail today and I say to myself, I don't miss it at all. I do not miss it at all, because what I had to deal with 9-10 years ago is the same stuff that cashiers and photo techs and pharmacy, technicians and pharmacists and anyone in the retail business has to deal with, and that's customer service. Folks, customer service is something very important in our country that we don't take very, very seriously sometimes. If we work in a restaurant or retail business or someplace where customer service is the dominating factor, we have to understand that our customers are our number one priority, whether or not they are right or wrong. Okay. The whole idea of the customer is always right, well, that went out 20 years ago, because the customer can be as dead wrong in the dirt, but we still take care of our customers no matter how much they think they're in the right. What we do is, it's not so much customer service. I call it customer satisfaction. At the end of the day, can we satisfy the customer? Yes, we can. Can we give them good customer service? Yes, we can. Do they walk out of there with a smile all the time? No. But are they satisfied? Yes. Problem is that we want to take care of all of our customers, but the problem is we can't satisfy all of them every time, every way, without breaking rules, regulations, and of course pissing off our managers and staff at the time, because we felt that it was necessary to do something for our customers. But what I can't stand is when management decides, well, you need to go out there and give good customer service, and then all of a sudden they come back and they say, why did you do this when, you were supposed to do this? I said, because your thing did not satisfy the customer. I took the initiative and it worked. And then you wind up getting fired for it. So damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know what I mean? Because in this case, you satisfied the customer, but at the same time, you pissed off your manager. Why? I don't know. Because maybe they weren't involved with it. But if they wanted it so badly to be involved with it, all they had to do was get out of the office, come up to the counter of the register, and talk to the customer with the cashier right there. 90% of the time, if the manager wants to get involved and know what the heck's going on, all they had to do is get up out of the office, come in, after being paged 2 times, so that the customer can tell the manager what's going on. And I always told my customers, I said, if there's ever a problem that is beyond my control, you are more than welcome to talk to my manager or my assistant manager at any given time. Well, unfortunately, none of my customers wanted to do that. They would have rather talked to me, ramp at me, bitch and complain at me for everything. And I don't know why, because, and I said, there are things beyond my control that I do not have authority to do, and you know it, and I know it. And I am not going to break the law, let alone lose my job over this. If you feel this strongly about something, folks, and you're a customer, and you purposely want to get somebody fired, don't do it. Don't do it. Because I guarantee you, karma is a bitch. Karma is a bitch. All right? It'll throw back at you so badly. And I don't understand why a customer wants to make a scene like that or prove a point for something of that sort. Yes, our customers are the lifeblood of the retail industry. I understand that. But at the time when I was, in that realm of thing and customer service and working to try to make paycheck every day, that's why I had to go see a psychiatrist, because I couldn't figure out why customers were so demanding, yet they would do anything in their power, let alone break the law, to get what they want. And when they didn't get their way, man, it was like the coming out of the shell, and you saw the fireworks, the smoke coming out of their hair. Yeah, I pissed off some people, but I also stood my ground too. And I had to tell some people, I said, look, unfortunately, I've done whatever I could for you on any given time. And this is the thanks you get. People backstabbed me. I can't tell you how many times I stepped up to the plate, batted for the customer, took the customer's side, and, but no. Oh, no. And when the customer wasn't going to get their way, what do? They go to the manager and say, well, Jason DiCanio, he's a terrible guy. He was rude to me the whole time. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, you're going to lie to my manager and say that I was the rudest, baddest, meanest person to you, yet I gave you everything you pretty much wanted. I gave you great deals. I told you what was on sale. I held products for you. I ordered products for you to bring into the store. I did everything you asked me to do. And then the one time, folks, that a customer doesn't going to get what they want, boy, it's talk about tables turned. And so the trust factor is a big thing in customer service. You got to learn how to trust your customers, and also the customers have to learn how to trust the employees. Yes, there are some good employees out there, but there are other ones out there that just don't give a crap. And unfortunately, the ones that don't give a crap are the ones you don't want to deal with. Okay, every once in a while, you'll get a great employee that'll go out of their way to service you and give you that great customer service and that great interaction that you solely deserve, so that you can put it on a survey and say, I give this store a 5 out of 5, and I nominate that gentleman over there or that lady over there who gave me that excellent service, and da-da-da-da, and so forth. And, the surveys, the feedback. But bottom line is that our customers are the lifeblood of the retail industry. And if we do not take care of our customers, regardless of how bad they treat us back, then it's going to really reflect not only our company and the company's image, but we as human beings. And if we were treated like that, I don't think we would ever go back to a store either. And I've been treated like that badly too. And when I didn't get my way, let me put it this way: I'm the kind of customer that silence is the worst thing you could possibly do. If you don't take care of me, I'm not going to make a scene. I'm going to put the stuff down on the counter. I'm going to walk out, and I'm never coming back to your store. That is the worst thing you never want to have done, is somebody walk out the door and never look back. They don't need to explain themselves. They don't need to shout out to the world and say that you were a terrible person. All they got to do is walk out the door and not look back and put their items on the counter because they were not taken care of. That's the worst thing you could possibly do. That right there is bad customer service, regardless of how it looks, regardless of how busy you were. And you see, that's the thing, again, that a cashier or somebody of that assortment has to deal with, is the fact that no matter how busy you think you are, there's always somebody else to take care of. And it's very stressful for cashiers and employees and for all of the staff of a store to have to take care of 20,000 customers on a daily basis, especially like a supermarket. I don't know how those guys do it. More kudos to you for dealing with rowdy customers like that, because you get the thick of the flock, the pick of the flock right there. And sometimes, it's not easy to have to take care of 20 customers on a line with 20 screaming kids all trying to get their parents' attention. Gimme the candy bar. No, he would get it with that. No. You know, it's like, really, folks? Really? I mean, come on. You know, but I don't know how you do it. I couldn't do it no more. I don't, and I look at that and I say to myself, I don't miss that one bit. I don't miss it. But no matter where you are or whatever job you're working with, customer service should always be your main priority, whether it's physical customers coming into your store or customers over the phone, online customers, whatever the case. Whoever your baseline of customers is, whether you interact with them or not, you take care of them always. Same thing like with DoorDash. You know, food delivery and the gig economy is a big thing right now. And the more I've seen of things of people just stealing customers' food, taking it after they have, you know, submitted the photos and said that they have delivered the food and then walked off with the customer's food, thinking that they were entitled to it, or, you know, being rude to the customer, saying this, that, or the customer being rude back, and, you know, all this stuff. It never ends. And you have to think to yourself, gee whiz, you know, I can't get away from the customer service-based jobs regardless, because every job has customer service in its format, no matter what kind of position it is, what type of work you do. You're always going to deal with customers in some way, shape, or form. And you got to be able to say, can I do it at the end of the day? Can I handle it? Or do I need to go see a shrink and take myself to counseling at the end of this day because I don't know how much more I can take? Whatever you need to do, at the end of the day, after you've put up with all the crap, or you've put up with years of it, working nights, weekends, holidays, overnights, crappy schedules, you not having a life, and I know that for a fact. I didn't have a life for 20 years, my friends. From the time I graduated high school to the time I finally got out of the retail business and finally got out of Universal, and now I'm working DoorDash the last 2.5 years, I can honestly say that the last 20 years of my life, where the hell were they? That's for sure. Because I was, like I said, I did it all. I worked nights, I worked overnights, I worked weekends, I worked holidays, I worked on times when you never thought that the work schedule was there. I never saw a 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. I never saw an 8 to 4 p.m. I never saw a 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Although one shift I thought was a great shift was an 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. shift. I thought that was a good mid shift. But I did it all. But never had the consistency. Now that I work DoorDash, I work 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the latest, or somewhere in that vicinity. Nothing more, nothing less, because storms are coming around, rain, and I don't want to get caught in the downpour, and I don't want to work nights and weekends or holidays anymore. So with this flexibility in my schedule, I can do this show where I couldn't before. One thing for certain, folks, is customer service. It's there. It's not going away, and it's here forever. That's the important thing we got to understand. So take it very seriously. Don't ever take it for granted. And if you are a customer on the receiving end, you do everything in your power, yes, to get what you want and try to get what you want, but at the same time, don't make a scene and don't be a doofus, because you never know. One day that employee will shock you so much in a good way that what are you going to say then? You're going to look like a fool. So don't look like a fool and don't be a buffoon about it. Work with the employees, work with the staff to try to get the issue resolved, because at the end of the day, all the store cares about is you being satisfied. And we hope you are satisfied today on this edition of DMS 3000 News Live. I'm done for the day. And I hope to see you next Friday for our next edition of this great show. And like I said it before at the beginning of the show, if you'd like to be a permanent host or help us host during the week, if you've got the time, we would love to have you on as a host and hosting the show and formats and everything. We've got a few surprises coming up in the next 2 weeks, and they're very good surprises. I'll let you know about those as we come closer to it. October is going to be here before you know it, folks. So we're getting prepared for Halloween and getting prepared for Thanksgiving. The holidays are coming up. The schedules are going to be really weird and weaky, so we'll take the time to give you an idea of what the rest of the fall schedule is going to be looking like. And I want to send a prayer out to of course, our CEO, David St. Dennis. He's not feeling well. He had a bad cold over the weekend. So, buddy, get better, And don't forget, and I'm running out of time. I'm doing this. Don't forget, of course, Brian Snow and Cole Johnson. They're coming up with Snowman in the Morning at 10 o'clock. Do not forget tomorrow night, Wednesday night, 9 o'clock on this StreamYard, we'll have the third edition of Wipe Those Tears with myself and a very interesting panel to talk about the Activision Atari games from the company Activision. We'll rate them and we'll see where they fall as far as in the grading scale. Who's going to be on the show tomorrow night? You'll just have to tune in and find out, because we take anybody at the last minute. I'm Jason DeCanio. Have yourself a great day. And remember, be honest, be real, and keep it simple, stupid. We will see you next week. Bye for now.
Don't forget to subscribe to the David Patterson Network for great more content like this one.